Evaluating primary sources of tax law. Learning objective: identify and understand the primary sources of federal tax law. The text page references are from Sawyer's 10E. This lists the sources of federal tax law. Statutory, covered in Chapter 3, administrative, covered in Chapter 4, and judicial, covered in Chapter 5. These are primary sources of tax law. This shows the search page from Checkpoint, and this has two areas of secondary sources of tax law: editorial materials, news, and current awareness. These are important in the research process, but do not rely on secondary sources. Drill down and find the primary sources to support your conclusion. This also shows the primary sources that you will want to ultimately use for your cases. Definition of primary authority: an element of the federal tax law that was issued by Congress, the Department of the Treasury, the IRS, or a federal court. Step 3 of the tax research process is to locate authority. And again, the primary authority that we work with includes statutory, administrative, and judicial. Primary authority focusing on statutory sources. This includes the U.S. Constitution, tax treaties, and tax laws passed by Congress. Statutory authority is the basis for all tax provisions and is covered in Chapter 3. Primary authority also includes administrative sources, rulings of the Treasury Department and the IRS, which include regulations, revenue rulings, and other pronouncements. This does not include IRS publications. The IRS publications are good for basic information, but they do not constitute primary authority. Locate the material, the authority that you want to use in the primary authorities before preparing your research memo. The third area of primary authority: judicial. These are the collective rulings of various courts on federal tax matters. Certain federal court decisions have the force of the statute in constructing the federal tax law. The magnitude of this authority depends upon the level and location of the courts that issued the opinions, so that all researchers need to get into the habit of analyzing the court to determine the level of the issued opinions. Step 4 of the tax research process is to do this, to evaluate the authority. The next slides contain detailed comments regarding the evaluation of court cases. These exact slides are available in the Blackboard course. Go over these details and submit comments or concern on the Blackboard discussion board. The material in the next slides does not lend itself to a narrated presentation. It needs students to look at it, analyze, and then discuss it on the Blackboard discussion board. The start of this evaluation: considerations in evaluating authority. Continuing on, court case opinions and regulations. Appellate court decisions, circuit decisions, and older cases. And note that the 2nd and 9th circuits are the biggest circuits, the most important circuit decisions, and it is important to realize that it depends on which circuit the case is being heard. Now we move to IRS revenue rulings and revenue procedures, district court, tax court. Notice on this slide that IRS agents are bound by the Internal Revenue Code, administrative pronouncement, and Supreme Court decisions. Again, it just shows the need to understand the strength of the court decisions. Now work with this material. Answers are provided in the Blackboard course.